Memachi na memo akwaba enfambra Nnawotwi dwumadie so Adom TV ene asempa 94.7 FM. Well, Nnawotwi we mu nsem bebre ene siye yenyina yenim finance minister eco parliament eco presented the media budget review of the nsem bebre na etudwa minority no are reacted to all of those issues. Nnawotwi we munso yenim say attorney general they advise on Miss Cecilia Abnadapa issue no aba. Na enumu na o share nsema attorney general they abetudwa. Na o share near police for edical quarter. I say nsem bebrebe wo ho a amna edem tankofo bisa say eh na sa inconsistencies we no efihin na eba ene yebesi nkonya na etumi adom asuko yi na wonso atumi atensem na se na wotwe we amonso na beto odwa se Bank of Ghana nyina ye bank ese a ye ni da kwan se bibini a omotumi ginem ehwemo bibia toto din no afia betwem ko 2022 omuboka omo ye adwuma tete omo mfaso ene ne omo spend ye nyina ye hwe no na Ghana Bank of Ghana aboka 60.8 billion. Eno no nchiremu ben na eho Bank of Ghana ede nchiremu bebre aba ye bi betudwa na ye wie nso a ya ko ne ye ne omo nimde ewo eye bank nsensem no nso ene omo akodi nkomo na otie ne Bank of Ghana kana say enam se no mu kra stock of government instrument bebre over the years no ene near cocoa board mfoso de buy o share sa instrument we kromo ye domestic debt exchange no we mu nyina no were affected and I shall say mo ka ni nyina bomu a domestic debt exchange no the exposure level of the Bank of Ghana to ASR program ye no na 64.5 billion at the time of the exchange. Intuition say Yaboka 60.8 billion. Much less say a asa can a boy no a domestic debt exchange and a buyer. Na omache chire mubebre say Osha Bank of Ghana enya 50% 50% haircut on non-marketables. I non kwano na ekuta kademu 32.3 billion. Or say impairment from air exposure to cocoa board and so no air amounted to 4.7 billion. Na enyoma miensa we air DDP items no marketable, non-marketable any cocoa board and something and okabomwa air amounted to 53.1 billion out of air 60.8 billion cedis loss omunya in 2022. Na mumunso den pa na esikyere ene ye be singwa wo ho na yetumi adiscuss na eno nso na beto odwa se MC owo Kumase asantemamu ho baby nso ne baba waware wona wade fie eno omkoto se wawu eda na baby owo no ne garden mu ni kunu so obeto no na oda ho a on Jahome Odindu Hospital no muka say on so yade wewu on Odindu on let's say yes wewu accident bi so epie wo Kumase eye nkran kwan no so onsem bebre na sie na moment ne no ye ba betena na yahwe say ma Miss Cecilia Abnadapa ne nsem e ba ye that seminar aban lawyer penny ade atudwa emun sensem ye bedomo suko ene Bank of Ghana omolos no so ye besi nkonya na yetumi Adom Yi na mo so yetumi atiase wadwe nkyere ne yade ehia ye pa enti okọ Adom TV ewo Facebook a ja wadwe nkyere ne wo ho ye befa na yakan mo bia so etumi atebe on behalf of me production crew, me producers, me director, me cameraman, me sound for me mo akwaba edoba Nnawotwi Yi dwumadie so ye from Samuel Kojo Brace ye be twa ye ho na yaba ye ba ye be sing konya na yetie Bank of Ghana nsensam no ye ne BOG director of research edi nkomo ye ba ye be tudwa na so wetumi atebi ye ba isia me mo akwaba bio enfambra Nnawotwi Yi dwumadie so Adom TV fi ha etwa ne ho ewa sempa 94.7 FM. Well, Yeah, Babidi in Como about Bank of Ghana. Car boy in 2022, so Moboka 60.8 billion cedis. Out of a more principal capital, I was around 64 point something billion. Dr. Richmond, a banking consultant. Bano say banking and same power beni won papa boy me to me atin sen samna see doc pacho machio doc bibia boko de
Yehowa dum bibia e now so
yankopo e de ache ye da se pass e watumi ajoin ye ba doc na nswansa na no yenkwe na enkotie interview bia Yenia George Oyafe ene the director of research of Bank of Ghana Ra Abredu Otu edi ye ba na ene doc a pensem mu yi
Ghana very interesting week. Yes, we posted our results last Friday. It's generated a lot of attention in the media.
Help me get some understanding here for the layman. I mean, when I talk about profits, when I talk about loss, I look at limited by liability entity. For a Bank of Ghana that is seen as a state institution, where is this whole argument about loss, profits, and all the rest? Help me out, some education in this space.
Well, so we need profits, first and foremost, to run our operations at the Bank of Ghana. And the operations at the Bank of Ghana are very huge, massive operations that we are involved in to ensure that the economy runs well. And also we need that to deliver on a monetary policy mandate. That mandate is inflation. That mandate requires that we always ensure that there is optimum liquidity in the economy for economic activity so that it doesn't generate inflationary pressures, and in that process we try to absorb those excess liquidity that we see on the market that can cause economic noise to the fundamentals. Now, that process of withdrawing liquidity from the system costs money. We need to pay interest on these instruments that we take out from the system. It's an expense on our balance sheet item. And therefore, we need income to be doing all these things to ensure stability in the economy. We are a public institutions body, BOG, by the nature of the things we do. It's a public institution, policy body. And therefore, we need resources to be able to do that. So basically, that's what we do.
I get it, because my concern was the fact that per your entity, that's your regulations and your laws allow you to post profit and loss. Because cast back to 2021, you made some profit as I think 1.2 billion Ghana cedis.
But not necessarily 2021, but if you go back all the way through to 2016, 17, I think one of those years, whether it was 2016 or 17, was when we made a loss. No. But since then, we've been making profits every year. The last one was last year. We made about 1.23 billion.
That was 2021,
yeah. Yeah, 2021, yes. Well,
but that was what I was trying to get the understanding about, the fact that where lies this entity regulating the financial space, and even the bit about making profit, the bit about making loss and all the rest, and whether that could also cloud or affect your mandate in promoting financial stability in the space.
Well, but George, if you look at upstairs on our balance sheet on the asset side, we do make income from some activities.
Like fines and all the rest.
Well, like fines, but
trading in gold and all the rest and all those.
Yeah, those are part of the story. But we do have reserves offshore with correspondent banks. We have investments in instruments offshore. We are buying U.S. treasuries. We are making income from that side as well. So we do make income, yes, from our activities. And then again, on the downside, we do have liabilities. And at the end of the year, these things do offset each other, and then we end up with either we've made a profit or we've made a loss.
So in the case where you made a profit, does it everything goes to the shareholder being the government?
Well, the law requires that when you make a profit, you need to first distribute these profits. There's a way the distribution is done, and then the rest goes to the government of Ghana.
So in the case where you have made this record loss, what happens? Because that also has an impact on your operations going forward. But just to get the understanding that now that there is a loss, it means that those incomes that should have been distributed, what happened? There wouldn't be any dividend payment. And those are the first things that will happen because of what has happened to your operation in terms of the loss.
So this time there's a loss.
Yeah.
Do we transfer that loss to somebody?
That could be a question that would be asked to someone.
Yeah, but the law talks only about the profit side. The law is silent on what happens when there's a loss. But when there's a loss, well, the central bank will then have to work to rebuild that loss back. We recall in 2016 or 2017 when we made that loss, we quickly built that loss back. Nobody paid attention because probably,
it was
not as huge as what we are seeing today. So there's been a loss. The question is, we just need to put in place strategies and actionable steps to ensure that we recover this loss. George, on the 25th of July, I think the Bank of England posted a statement, and the Bank of England was saying that government will have to give the Bank of England, that is the government of Ghana, the government of the UK, will have to give the central bank, that is the Bank of England, 150 billion pounds sterling. This was the loss that the Bank of England had made on their books in 2022.
Yeah.
Maybe the laws in UK allows such losses to be transferred
to government.
And maybe
you
that
think
is
the same to be applied here in Ghana?
Oh, I don't want to go there. I'm not too conversant with what the law says. I'm only conversant with the positive side when there's a profit.
But Doc, some would argue that,
yes,
aren't we comparing apples and oranges here? In terms of the economy in England, the bank of maybe the Reserve Bank in US and even other markets. Can we even look at our peers? And now that you have posted this loss, Nigeria, Gambia, Ivory Coast, what is the practice there when we try to argue that, listen, other markets like Bank of England and the other developed economies have had this challenge?
Well, but George, the question you need to be asking yourself is, have those countries, our peers, gone through such a humongous domestic debt exchange?
No.
The domestic debt exchange was huge. But George, one thing we knew when the domestic debt exchange was being done was it was potentially taken from people almost about 25 billion Ghana cedis in terms of cash liquidity. This is what the domestic debt exchange was doing to agents in the economy. And maybe that is why we saw all this resistance. It's taking money away from the people. So when you talk about our peers, are they reporting profits? Are they reporting losses? Have they gone through a domestic debt exchange? So each country has its own peculiar economic characteristic. And our characteristic was that this is an economy that was moving, that had debt problems, that had physical challenges, that had to undergo a debt restructuring to secure an IMF program. And this is the result that we had. So a huge domestic debt exchange on the people, and the Bank of Ghana has been part of the domestic debt exchange. What we've done is to act as the last shock absorber for the entire debt exchange. And this is where the last buck stops.
In your normal banking regulations supervising the banks, you often will raise issues about the level of exposure of a bank. Do you think that also the time has come, looking at the laws that you have recorded, the time has come to take a second look at your laws in terms of your exposure to the government of Ghana?
I would have been worried if this level of losses had been persistent or staying on our books for the past 3, 4, 5 years. Then it's worrying. This is a one-off event that we've seen. It's created a negative equity. We need to build back that negative equity into positive territories.
And some will say it could take quite a long time to build back, and that is why the argument about the never again and what is being done, and also the concerns about the level of exposure, because the Bank of Ghana would raise issues about maybe a Georgia bank and the exposure to an individual institution. Can the same be applied to the Bank of Ghana, even though you are a lender of last resort for the government of Ghana, that steps should be taken to limit your exposure to financing of government?
To who?
To government.
Well, but George, in this case, what we see is an exposure that dates back as far back as 1992. So all the instruments and the stocks that we are having, these are not stocks that have been generated in a single period, but it predates 1990. It goes as far back as 1992. Let me give you an example. We had toll bonds sitting on our books. We had bonds that were associated with Telecom Malaysia. Okay, at one point in time, there was a deal with Telecom Malaysia. I think Telecom Malaysia wanted to take over Ghana Telecom. I think it did, but it got out within a short period of time. We needed to salvage that situation. There were some bonds that were issued to try to get the Malaysians out of Ghana Telecom. Those bonds were in there, and other bonds were also in there.
All right, nti eno ne nkoma ora Abredu Otu, or Director of Research at the Bank of Ghana, on a George Weafe Edi. Well, nti niana opeso chiremwane se debt exchange program no ene de ahon bebre na e de buy me catch earlier say almost with any course of debt exchange, you know, omunya 50% haircut on omo principal are now standing at 64.5 billion cedis at the time of exchange a course. You know, Dr. Richmond Etuahine Abin wo banking sense muntie misa no ene ndi nkomo ntumi nchechere na yenyina no yentumi entia se ne be ya kabia na yehuni ya ebeka doc memo akwa ababiem watie ora Abradu Otu nchechere mo de baaye no ohun ni san
Meda sibebre mechia otiefo nyina ne wo mo hwew die dikai mame na George Weafe ase ene me hu se wo ye obi a wa bi dare
wa no so kakra mame
mesi me hu meda wase na die dikai meda George Weafe ase George ene George a me hu ni se die wo kano otiase if you say okay bibi ma manage etomre bia obi ma ne so a no the Ghana compare UK na George Katire ne say you don't compare apples and oranges. Britain for no your friend bibi quantitative easing time my economy no call say COVID in the buy they supported seriously, and it was no wonder that they make the loss. Yeah dear no the all cano ukoboa abai abai overdraft 64 billion. Now our bond 16.1 billion. Now IMF no by July no maka kire say emra ni kire say memmo aban bosia because emra no wo Bank of Ghana Act kire say 10% of your previous revenue is how much you give to government. But you don't go and give 60 billion when your revenue was 120. Into Omaka say, we overdraft now, woman. Charity by 50%, and only haircut now, or can't, or didn't know.
Oh, okay. And Doc, Mr. International say 50% because of the debt exchange, you know. By idea bank, by IMF catch on say omonye.
Debt exchange, you know. Debt exchange in India, a cover almost 16.1 billion. Bonsa never honor, and treaty it is said you treaty bank the idea. Na the amount of watch on Lucas and say, Omokobo a bambusia, and ran out buying watch no. But I'm ran on Mount Quine and yet. In the IMF for no buying, and nobody be able to say, if free Nako, Ubia, Ombay 0 financing. Won't even more a bambusia, capre and ateku. In the Assembly all cano, or one church the way, this is so called more site. One a Roberto Jose, 64 billion. Any amount haircut 50%. Any restructure bond no 16.1 billion said your restructure will be added. Into can in our bomwa. Nature say, Omuda profit loss no 55 billion. And his son Adian Susans what ye. The aqua bano. Am wow, ya one being so beboa buying. Ama buy it me arani. No one share a mra is seen quine so when ye. Into I may for no buying. And on here bukum. We shall report now. A woman into the wall cannon as a second would chill ye. If it's a big one, so on one a cover by any idea pimo. Yet the pim we are, we say a debt testing. Debt testing, you know, dear, a cover only 16.1. But I may forecatch it on say overdraft now, my dear, my buying it. Moon 50% in group. And we much buye. Into a seminal, who preso chilema, which my gun of one in Atias, and yes, I will come bro for the debt testing in a man a basa. Debt testing in Yen I watched young pensioners of Grabiakai. What you say? It is all called be 16.1, they become and they are saying over Fanessa, can no more ya, and common call loss. Said the Omianum accommodation finance now, or the mabine 64 billion, and you know, much 38 billion buye.
Okay, but Doc. Mamin Kainia, Mwankasa Bank of Ghana, they have to Jana boy and the intiminity. Or say, or say this stock of government instrument has been built over the years. That is okay. So the main reason for this huge loss is the impairment of the holding of marketable government stocks and non-marketable instrument of Ghana, all being held in the books of the Bank of Ghana. This stock of government instrument has been built over the years. In addition, the Bank of Ghana's exposures to cocoa board, which has been built over the years, was also impaired. As we all know, the government of Ghana embarked on both domestic and external debt restructuring. The holdings of government instruments and cocoa board exposures were all part of the perimeter of the debt exchange, whereas all other stakeholders that participated in the domestic debt exchange did not have principal haircut, but rather had new instrument with new tenors and coupon structure, the BOG, which served as a loss absorber to the entire debt exchange program, a key requirement that allowed the government of Ghana to meet the threshold for the approval of the IMF program. As a result, the BOG had taken a 50% principal haircut on the total principal, which stood at 64.5 billion at the time of the exchange. Consequently, BOG had new instrument which extended tenor and significantly reduced coupon. But by applying the full requirement of IFRS 9, this means that from the principal alone, a 50% haircut on the non-marketables amounted to a loss of 32.3 billion. The impairment from the exposure to cocoa board also amounted to 4.7 billion cedis. These three DDEP items, i.e. marketable, non-marketable and cocoa board, accounted for 53.1 billion out of the total loss of 60.8 billion for 2022. In addition to these three items, price exchange rate valuation effect. Okay, so price and exchange rate valuation effect accounted for 5.2 billion of the total loss, whereas interest expense on cost of monetary policy operation accounted for 3.3 billion. Into Weno, the Bank of Ghana were not being truthful to us when they enumerated Wemu as being the effect of, a car ya bono.
Yo, Midasi Breeze. mama nkyerɛkyerɛ mu woka aborɔfo no yopo mama so nkyerɛkyerɛ mu ɔka marketable instrument no marketable instrument ni yɛ bonds the no marketable instrument ni yɛ overdraft na ɔmo de ma buy no me yɛnhwɛ ni yie because yɛka marketable instrument and any bonds na wotimi trade no no ɔmo kura 16.4 na overdraft no de ma ba na wo document ni 64.5 billion and no money ama on haircut 50% ama won sunsun so aka say koko bond no kra no de restructure ya minia they wouldn't have gone there because figure na wo kana me so figure na wo me phone so ma hwe wo mu bi wo ma kire wo say marketable instrument 16.4 no marketable instruments, the accommodation of the Ghana government is 64.4. And only a mayan haircut, 50%. Until one no can and apply IFRS. No banks no so apply be. Just IFRS say losses to be our obeyano. IFRS 9. That will say, shall debt in the good. Shall debt in the good. No one the entire Bank of Ghana for one children say. Woman de ya pege ni nyina de apem won afe baako ukọ banking sector na o man fa ni nyina mapem won nti na meka mre bi say banks ni bi wo ho a afe edi animi ombesan fa losses ni bi but we de o man no IMF na ka kire o say mo fa ni nyina preko pe preko nam ye di ni show e na o ma di ni show e na show no di negative capital aba nti brace asema mechechire Ghana for mu no ene ni nkyirase nyina na machire wo ena oka exchange losses and also ka exchange losses ni there enam so omo currency foreign currency in overseas with Fed and Bank of England so your revaluation ya na currency no say ya na abetiawo na abehitewo ene ye no kore eno de enturo bi ani when you hold foreign currency with foreign banks and when the currency devalues or depreciate the losses are captured in your balance sheet. Nti niema ni nchichiri mu no is any ho.
Na okay earlier say Bank of Ghana Emma buying an overdraft, which of course the IMF spoke against. Say nyadianka also here, but that Bank of Ghana say Yenkoma government of Ghana such an overdraft, even though him say a tiamra no.
Would him say a drew 2022 ho baby no. Na yes, kwan when is the idea the modern your body said the be a kwama no kwaje bosia. Near the be 2 year who Ghana ha. Yan kasa hwe economy ni hwe economy ni ye. Nti afinisi ye na yentimi kwama no ne kwaje sika no. Na just wo mani ye need as wo nyina asa. Nti ni efra governor say governor so wa mo ye ndia Omana ye bankrupt. Inti sadia ye boye. And one also said you predators and one hammer so no bone any no so. And no boy almo. Inti a tom rebia, won't mean financial Bank of Ghana. A tom rebia there was swan who they call so on your man on so count. Inti Bank of Ghana for one and a year. So one man pejan qua Anka Bank of Ghana for more 64 billion. Debbie. Because a BC that all canon. Or can countries be to say UK near de obi any ho akoye debt exchange Georgia ya de o se fabra ya Africa ha any yedikan ewo serious losses on central bank any yedikan u kan literature wo hu no ba bia enti etomre bia mra no a yempese yedi adwuma the Bank of Ghana Act 612 amended 2016-918 actually say 10% of your revenue. Into when your revenue 120, busia yetimi bo 12 billion. But you don't go for 64 billion. And when you do that, you are compromising the position of the Bank of Ghana.
Okay. That didn't be to me a year na yede ensure say Bank of Ghana in this situation again. Senior House we are the first ever. Say your central bank, any these losses to this magnitude. That knows it to me.
Brace, when him say yeah, so be free baby be catch the baby chile and assume. IMF over can say zero financing. One must sign law. One must sign act and contract. And one can't jump so one fan call parliament. Niam fan share law no mu be mu say a free neko. Ken will be a more abambusian. Abano yen idea. On ni sika. na holding Brace mamen quote to good book in Luke 14:28. I like that text. Yes, you can send me. Or say one the best dan on trusting me no to obeti me asia. That's when to me asia yesrew. Because senki ya holding any year the and can yen ya kofa bani. Nti Bank of Ghana person just yen discipline in our finances, and I'm very grateful say yatna ho ama ho ebe kan kire anka yan kasa ye betimi aye no yanye nti efri na ekọ no yenko ya my kwan Bank of Ghana okwa governor beka je say me pa cho we de menye biem mentimi ye nti wo ye wade a mfiti ase no hwe wo ho den na hwe ne obetimi na Grace ade ba ko eye hu e wo de aba no and he say you already know your physical pressures you can't physical already you have problem with our budgets. We have a serious problem with our budget. Say oka say aban mebo anka ho a na debt GDP ratio na ye ka no na ekọ he nti ya obrodi be say ye de ensa koka abrewaduane ye de ensa koto abrewaduane mu si epo ye mpo ye bedi but ye dia the debt ratio no say ye de beba 60% GDP 2027 no one way ye ntimi. If it says also Bank of Ghana, we are talking about capital, you're talking about 50 something billion divided by even 12, a bad exchange rate. You're talking about 4.8 billion. And I tell you, Papa Abredu Air Council, or can be Bank of Ghana is not a profitable institution. Profit in a kahone ancillary, and yet main business no omonton loans omonton we nkakra wo nyanya treasury bill ho ne ne bonds no omode twelve profit. And it's also where retainer na afra say 2020 wo de ma afra say kranya example unya 1.2 wo de for 1.2 ne divide how many years and now maintain it consistently 1.2 I'm talking about 42 years. And you said the TBA no as I say aban etimi ko boa wo mo wan ko boa wo mo a obi si engrofo pc anya hwe. But mamen chiro enwoma sua ekunninifo abeka se senye se bank ni ntimi nya dwuma na niema bi a esese wo ye no ewo nipa no kura ni so no emma eya na ye deja na afi so our account wo Federal Reserve our account wo Bank of England se wono yonku munyina mo ye governance na mushi na moka no ka o de wo company no bank na wo tim no kura wo hunni capital enye egu omani nyina ho afi anase emoa oman no nti se nkrofo kan ya no omwura fi se ewo nsunsun so pi ma oman no nti yese se ye ni bre se e behwe daachi bi no de yakomu ye nkomu biem na ya nhwe ne transe ne yese de musia bo an ye beje ne ye hwe ne ye de musia ya ho de so a de beba no enya beto ye wie brace.
Okay, interesting. Yenhwe senior and you obviously betumi asiako but just hold on mama and I'm in Brass studio and befa comment bi wa kakra I'll come back to you. Mesaka Minia Afwakwa or Enoch Afwakwa, a government spokesperson or studio Enoch, you have a code here? Okay. Lawyer Alexander Chumberima, member of the NDC National Communications Team, on Baba I'm say Minister for Information there. You have a code here? Anyway, my message in fear for so yes, first time ever a BOG and your laws, and this is during the time of war buying.
Could you mamify in Chasson Coma for any what for you? Now, the constituency, so Obuasi's constituency, former constituency organizer by the Council of Elders chairman, Alaji Sani Mahama, Wadani Ato. We say, or didn't be a constituency chairman, actually, Obuasi, Brian Chimana, your Obuasi constituency, no your constituency organizer, or your organizer throughout. Yet, a East and West, so no, also continue as organizer until say, Obey Council of Elders, or Penny, almost about 70 to 80 years. Obey Council of Elders chairman. Till last week, and Yakupon Etones Afreno. Tinamia Doma, a Dutchna, and Kremufama name on Yabay Adua, na Yakatane Chukra, and until Yamabusia for any constituency in Yako, the constituency executives, chairman, ne party members in ye mo bibia ya ko e wo ade a ya hwe no papa no ye a servant leader and no brain ho ase ye ma esom party no ene Ghana nyina so eye pa ya ko fa ne kra nsi
okay so mama ma 7 minutes on this one
so wo hwe Bank of Ghana omo I was an annual auditors report and also omo account omo buy for 2022 ebe to dwa ye hwe some similar losses at Bank of Ghana no enya obeka se eyade a ha dwen eyi se ye central bank no ebe ko sa ho ye hia we se mu nyina akodwo sa ho ye hia mu nyina no so the doctor otu ekasa dem se wa chechire mu eyi pa wonti ase wo
Dr. Chiahine
sorry any other financial people are almost so take finances as ye pa but in terms of all this no eya na ye refi ho se your crisis moment we ka crisis moment like chumo ha obeja tum say COVID-19 eba ye no there a lot of devastation and eba we are seeing including Ghana obesre because on person obeja tum say one of the factors oh that be say I was no say NDC for no say any assessment we about COVID-19 bia no see Ramahama and Shase so Oxford University na e could be say no ho asem no ogitum say Africa nyina no affect yen but ba Ghana there onyitum say COVID-19 and Russia Ukraine impasse affected the global order in terms of trade and the financing and the commerce no affected Ghana but yen nyina ogitum say e can ho bi and affected Ghana strongly pa there in terms of expenditure so mampanyi e ka say inim kwa be fa so a ye de nipa enkwa nipa owe ni yenim kwa be fa so de enkwa back to life but economy ni the participants some say den kra na you betumi share economy no eye no em say these are some of the ravages COVID-19 and the global economic challenges ebe to we are seeing now including Ghana and the abreye okay Bank of Ghana one thing ebe show Dr. Otu Etuahene ayi to ma e den say okay almost losses as far as pricing any devaluation concern is about 5.2 billion Ghana cedis ono aja to say in terms of your federal reserves and them no who save you in the foreign currency any them in terms of the devaluation any them na eba no say see this dollar parity e ko form so losses ni nyina e ba sika so ti say owo dollar e da ho na dollar say bia e cedi wo na dollar nanka ene over $1 million I think that is about 11.33 million Ghana cedis. Now, 11.33 million Ghana cedis at that na dollar pija could be 15 Ghana cedis per dollar. It's now I jump with the same $1 million no. I jump call ABA 15 million. Is it 15 million?
No, you mean if you're transferring or exchange it to Ghana cedis.
Ghana cedis.
Okay, so 1 million becomes 15.
1 million 15. But initially, $11.33 was equivalent to $1 million. It's in variance now. Our demona a loss to you because you need to add up. I saw this car. I saw and when you're the equivalent of that money. And Bank of Ghana as the central bank, no. If you see these challenges because of say on a year bank back time or two or no more all the commercial banks no they are all agents or servants of the Bank of Ghana because omunyina individual Bank of Ghana obusika nyina on the kra bibianti how be back e wosika semu a Bank of Ghana e na enya the net effect ne kese pa and even commercial banks na ba obeka say during the NDC time
I forgot my way Adentina more you are quick to cite a COVID-19 say can something nyoma akobone worth the economy but na ye island meboa Cote d'Ivoire enya COVID nebi they are very strong as we speak omunya mo central bank enya loss ni enya Burkina Faso Nigeria all of those they all had it they didn't know the yentis or more ka COVID na ye de kakra na ye ka COVID
Kojo question here be a very good question per say Chima Ghana for you na ti ase so okay say compared to the neighboring countries now Obi a sovereign state on its own and Obi on the economic structure as far as the Ghana economic structure are concerned no a completely different from the economic structure of Cote d'Ivoire. Two okay Ghana how we financed COVID-19 impasse na beto we are seeing so na yen financing the model no ye de COVID-19 different from omode
and we had a lot of support as well.
How much was the support? What close you borders? What close you borders for more than 3 years or 2 years?
No, it wasn't even up to a year.
Land borders. It was more than a year. Check.
Okay, our land borders.
Land borders was more than a
but
year.
it wasn't up to 2 years. No.
It was more than a year.
But it wasn't
three
up to
borders.
2 years. Yeah.
Your land borders.
We have three borders. The air borders, the sea, and the land. So the two are open, and there's only one that you close to one in a year.
You see, Kojo, I don't quite fun to your home. So say you did locally among ourselves as neighboring African countries than say yeni omo fu plane no. Do fu plane any omo ko Togo, eko Burkina, ko Mali, Niger, eko businesses no. Omo do so chen omo fu plane.
And the mini data.
Opa cross check from you kind of saying. No, yeah,
Google.
No Google cry from the immigration service, any customs for no make sure say the number of people are a land borders no echo up and down because say no and you too regulated because of the ECOWAS economic integration, you know. Some products are already duty free and then they because of the economic integration the West Africa sub-region has say your common trade. And barriers, no tariffs be on more any tariff regime. The near money be on how they call Nigeria, what they call Benin, what they call Togo, what they call Abidjan, Akwakotonwa. Because of the model, no primary commodities near the tariff free. Ask anybody are into a custom union. Say, Obetia say, and no, intino, and near my Fahono a dorsal pie, and so close to land borders now. Besides, Nigeria for 2 or more border more, no almost almost contain the importation of rice. Effect they buy Ghana so effect they be mind so West Africa has saying they buy so because the biggest economy in West Africa, Nigeria, out on the land borders na enema kasa pre economic products or more they call they nyako carbon check a car the back as pa and don't say what to about them more than even a year and out to about them more than a month land borders more month effect they bro the returns are and then the net effect they bro they very huge again COVID buy you know be bring person better as you know COVID buy you know. Government workers and public service workers are not more you know. About your mokao. About never say because of COVID. You are not working and you have more salary. Entitlement and emolument, you know. About the intact. Again, ebra sa ensem wo say nyina e koso ebe my economy no e shataya economy constrict nyina no government was spending if I now you be saying if I na banye ska or they provide all the services need deliverables ye de be som Ghana ama Ghana jan na so nyina free fa okay Cote d'Ivoire agenda one district hospitals you see almost 111 hospitals no they are not embarking on such an ambitious project. They are not embarking on such an ambitious project.
Ben you've not finished
it's an ongoing project and project that you are financing.
But you have not, you know, it's in your OC canon. It looks as though you are spending already.
We are spending.
No. But what argument, you know, the way you are saying is omunye agenda because we are talking about the loss of laws of Bank of Ghana in year 2022. But your argument is such that as if say Sikaya the year agenda one year 2 years but we haven't.
No. You may mention the impact of the COVID-19. I be ravage economies around the world, including Ghana. And I will cite examples. Cote d'Ivoire, any other neighboring countries now, almost also what I say, you know, went through this COVID challenges, and some of them are doing fairly better than the AIA. And I make sure we say, spending pattern as far as the containment of COVID-19 are concerned. Was different from the pattern which they spent.
But if you bring mortality,
one as part of mortality. No, I get one. Say COVID. Say in terms of our health infrastructure, we need to expand it.
Remember, you're talking about expenditure.
I'm coming. I'm coming. Could you expansion of our health infrastructure? Time of COVID by year rent amount for fee a year. Almost anything. Lawyer time. Almost
your friend say. I say like yeah. In a way,
holding centers. I don't know more technical way they were using. Say if you say you are suspected, say you are isolation centers near there. Say you enough health facilities and can be rented private properties near the isolation centers. Certainly no, because we also say the oil you take the person to a health facility.
All right.
All these factors near
about 2 minutes until they hold on them about you can make your point. Yeah, oh no, but time now okay landed 10 seconds.
We all these are any exchange rate devaluation they drop in there they affect Bank of Ghana. And together, we share haircut with regards to a domestic debt exchange program. Dr. Ochu, Ajatum say 50% Bank of Ghana say on marketable instrument and non-marketable instrument. On the bonds, bonds are marketable instrument like he mentioned. And this marketable instruments, government are buying through the Ministry of Finance, a new arrangement. yeah domestic exchange and then affect the central bank na monetary policy and almost securities no almost so nya the shock the ravages na kwakwa hit so they have not done anything worse but we need to build our country together and do things
Mate but obi say viewer back say me be question you say and oba back and oba answer but
obi say ma menka
undumi nka troto o say enti wonya surprise say overhead cost nko na 7 billion Ghana cedi and the fact of batch over be ya no I am right so what is a Bank of Ghana yenya a loss of $60.8 billion dollars and matter say minority say in future on be subject to some account of BOG to scrutiny that then you beat me as a country and I will say yeah na ebe prevent you from getting into these levels of losing your Bank of Ghana losing around 60.8 billion. That's a lot of money.
First of all, Professor Nokasane, who's your friend?
Dr. Richmond Etuahene.
I think he has done a very good service to the country this morning, and I need to commend him because he has. I think he should be teaching because he's very good. Said it was here breaky and money be down. I mean,
a consultant.
Oh, very well. I mean, money was here, but yeah, but now kind of but for the ordinary man, now sharing with him, to get the understanding. Because no marketable instruments, marketable instruments, as anything. Instrument to tell you back and say, Nadia, what's wrong? So it is very important on what you are breaking down. The ordinary man gets the understanding of those two. It's very good. And among other things, okay, what's seminar. He cited a Bible verse, which I strongly agree with him on Nasmokan and the content of that verse of Okotian. But the question I say, it takes me to that same verse. Abra boy ye bo ene ye nhwe ye ho so emmobra ene ye ne. Kojo we be say no say baby e gina ne no na did we ever anticipate ana obi hu tia wona so ana mpani say de o twa sa no ya na wonnim se na chiachia ne mum ye di atire ndi etoje ye say ye bet prompt to say afọ baby a wona mi bro tina tin wachi was a hard ya wachia no cause on de okọ na ni mu hu na chi ti wo di atire na wo prompt no kojo aban na di kan na yen timamufo ne mu institutions and whatever yen na di aban achi ye musi ye ho say ebra na nimma bi ko ba bi yen say ko yenya enipa bi mo mba twi aban ani ba ne ho so ana the answer is capital yes. The NDC side minority adongo atofo senom ekole on Bank of Ghana secretary adon twama ban nipa otwe ho da rekase okruma was adongo.
Yeah, the Bank of Ghana so much interest can be am.
What kind of this report in the
one print.
What kind of woman and tell you my some can view. You the you see is that the kind of lifestyle we're living and not the part now so near can na ya bottle gu ye kan say oh ye kasa do NDC for na continue no propaganda and NDC for ye but here na me research and I went on Moamo station Joy News or Joy Online rather sorry. T heading Ghana's fiscal policy characterized by overspending, structural
weaknesses,
structurally weak domestic revenue mobilization, IMF, overspending. How many times were we calling on this government? So who says Sikado do? The Sikado guys are wasting some of the things that you are wasting the money on, and you're realistic. Just say, Brana will bonnet bonnet, why? Sabi no see NDC for the country and propaganda. Mahama can wear propaganda. Minority parliament can wear propaganda. Yet the young poor man, you want the poor man. And only Kodo wouldn't say Bank of Ghana some yakin. O show one report my baby are coming here. I say, Adeba come on board Kakasier a year currency depreciation. And this one book 5.27 or so 3 billion.
Exactly. I'll say the currency depreciation. And 5.2 billion. 5.2
billion. Exactly. 5.21 billion. There's a 27 billion. And any come from currency depreciation. Now, me Kaisam Penimfu di and Nimunei, the likes of another don't go for the president. And Dr. Muhammad Wawmi and the vice president. Ghana for Bosse. Or mine, Hadibako Yen deserve as a country and as citizens. Any currency depreciation. We deserve something far better than that. And nothing depreciation. And yet, Ubo didn't Ghana for a busudia and Wakatre and Yadipa. didn't see it. I didn't see ya under their leadership. These two gentlemen who were criticizing any form of depreciation to our city, that it was something evil. Yet Ghana phone deserve it, sir. We deserve better, which I strongly said of you. We deserve better. So if we deserve better, is this the better that you are giving us? Better than the nay. I'm about Ghana to cite how much they've lost when it comes to depreciation of our city. Is that the better thing that you promise us? Kodo, Papa Nekasano was a Bank of Ghana essay investing in bonds 16.1 billion. Anna Emra Dawo or citing correctly at 612. Clearly states say Bank of Ghana breaking about buying Bessia. Then who bought Bessia na show Hoso never Bessia. Hoso saying, and for so we know and I feel chairman. A mu or how much edu, which is 10% depend. And a farmer buying Bessia. And man, money monoso because I buy a reckless. I buy Bobra Bonnie. I buy what the obedience no. Enti enfa on tam ojo pade na fa maban no kodin se no. Bobra pa. Asodin ti. Wunya nipa o masodin no di wani ma obra. Ebi die. Asodin ti aban beto na nsam tem na to na so na da na watam bum je koy. No watam sika tutu die wo fa so ni mo ha mu tije mu aduonum 50% dia ba ban be se aban ngi ngodi. Ana no so akodi. Ono so akodi na ne wo se wa boka. But what become because we are lawless. The leadership of Bank of Ghana, they are lawless people. Because you will not disobey your own laws that is governing your institution.
And now can say you disagree with some reasons of Mamano. Because some reasons from man can say because about Bible.
Your call my man, I know more from Kocha body Korea and I send a come the Nintendo Korea body. And they're justified. Your tree took a walk on call robbery say Nayeri wu accommodate no fear when yes can take a walk on so that is a justifiable position.
No, but say no Bank of Ghana for Kawa no say debt exchange one can say buy a boy in here. You see and do was so much and trust
Kwadwe. The issues their problem is not just one issue.
Okay.
Unless I did open and but that comparative point here me raising, I just want you to understand that you can't have a justification, any proper justification for any evil that you commit.
Okay.
Anything I'm the chrono, some the example. Because what you confront now beside the question of court, and see court police station and the he will get reasons to tell you the end of your work. Which the reason is from that judgment. That's what the morality in the bag. Maybe I'm the bad say, oh, moral and you can come to the and also the what does it? So you may seem to agree with him, but that agreement that you are never may tend to, override the core interest. Legally, no, you cannot steal. It Bank of Ghana cannot tell us, say, your law says don't give more than 10%. You've gone over 50%, or you've gone about 50%, which is 40% more than what you are supposed to give. And that because of say one must certain reasons to associate with it.
Okay. Lawyer hold the mame na ye chat tell. Dr. Joanne but original so mame menko na e o say koje you know results for and ye ntwa ye honko team bra ye by 10 minutes. Alright, memo akwa bio na yenna game park for us every National Lotteries Authority and they say odo feeding na to her number say boy 9 any 801 any 8 numbers ni bio 8018 it is a utwa bia no so numbers are e bwana pay edi right but already wrap up mama na
it's a flight na mu no take off say na so just a quick one to sum up to the Eken no let me because I do no more to be some of the issues to COVID. You see, I always disagree with any time they mention anything COVID. I'm saying so because under COVID, this government benefited a lot financially. Sika wunya I mean, bubuja. Sika bebre. I am from come 2 billion. Me tell me check it. on the 27th of August 2021, Ministry of Finance reported 1 billion from IMF. And then April 2020, so IMF now so publishing 1 billion on their website issued to government. We come on saying $2 billion. Say go one kwadi we they say I call you percent 3 meba o ma otu. But the bond marketing kwara international bond marketing kwa sika moje from 2018 to the year 2021 $11 billion ansomo. World Bank man 430 million during COVID time ansomo. Enti mo dey na beso. You have misused and you have been very reckless in managing our economy. I don't hear. So don't attribute any problem to anything COVID. Because you had what it takes to run the country. As you said, they are sustaining themselves today because they were able to put in proper structures a bit more sustainable. Anyway. There's a committee called the Economic Policy Coordinating Committee. This committee more or less a subset of the economic management team. Any part that's a committee. So the vice president, the governor of Bank of Ghana, and the finance minister, these three. And a component. So these people are there. And we are struggling today. Now we find him running around. Telling you he wants to become president. How is that possible? How is that possible when we have spearheaded the affairs of our damage and our destruction? You couldn't help us yesterday. You think you can help us tomorrow? And we are going to judge you based on your works and your actions. You said so why more Bank of Ghana paying. Or money was sika, you know Ghana have money.
Now for you Bank of Ghana you come about me.
And Bank of Ghana and some I'm just letting you understand that we are people who are supposed to have led us to or to manage the things where such a way saying do because you can't currency the position once a month. Yet me first to one Bank of Ghana a buy ka but buy team in one more to name man na body in penny be the actual way. And this people haven't helped us. Mom why enter the Bank of Ghana so ngaboka. Mom went to the second so different what a buy no we say some rand come buy my Bank of Ghana for no. Wouldn't say you shouldn't give them they shouldn't take more than 10% from them. But recklessly you took more than 10%. And recklessly they also gave you more than 10%.
Okay.
And now you have enjoyed at the expense of Bank of Ghana. I'm an IMF say go and recapitalize Bank of Ghana.
Okay. Yo.
So central bank in Ebua. Not other banks.
Ebana buying or recapitalize them in England, Britain.
And fine,
recapitalizing bank or central banks.
It is because of our recklessness. We have been more reckless than that.
You might end up no argument. And I'm Uguzwa share and Nnawotwi Yi or Adom TV, or radio so Asempa 94.75. You be try nearby your bar. You be say I wrap up on a Bank of Ghana and some ansana. Ya cons and some. So number one side back on. Dr. Jahine that's why near Doc. What ye and comma me guess me no more studio at the also watch watching now. After listening to them and some bang and obeborn tofa near to me who kwaya or seeing you to me faso as on mine. Yeboa Central Bank no to me jina nya hoden ehwe sika semso yi
medawasi pa brace medawasi nyamishao I mean obia betrans no kan COVID ya na said the many ba ho no kan lawyer no kan ya na me tiase o you can't share Ukraine war and COVID and then me no kasa inflation was Uganda 3.6%.
Hey
your inflation 40 something percent. I don't know how many Africa have it. Nigeria, inflation here 26%. Ivory Coast here 6%. Togo here 8%. And you catch there and say, Hunkwana, Yasi, Yari, and Ababoa. I wanted the many woman yarding. Now, the Baku so woman, lawyer Kaya, as I say a Tias here, and yet NDC for one kind. Tamo Moshas here. Yanu be only a Malacha or Kimpiski. The borrowing were borrowing. I thought it was reckless. And I made a statement that so borrow. One boro ya nya de pa udo ubetua firi ohinimu udo ohinimu wi na betua me kan 2018 omo didi ma antem ne ade but the question is that the country belongs to everybody. It is not a political country. It will maybe anama fate politics na yet say o money e politics muhwe ne ekoso nkrobia we ye chiri soro wa eya na mo wira fi omo so no omo de sane me ye adwuma wo be ye o man a ye hia ne so o man be koso. Yaka you obi betrans so waka Britain bankruptcy. British economy is not going is not going into drains. Ours have gone into drains. And you people tell us it's recovering. Recovering from where? We are going to head for recession. Let me repeat. If central bank is going to have a problem, banking are having a problem, what says the country? Some politicians, aya tom rebia, ye we chire na ye ni mo afa no. Aya montie ye. Mo pese mo tie ye ba kokra. And we dey work academia. Me kaba hade a oye we, o kaba ha oye we, but o man bia no ye the meritocracy. So man we be ye, I want to use the word. The lawyer is there. Man for meritocracy anya dwuma. Na mo the party cronyism. We will come back to the same square one. I'm telling you, countries that Rwanda, they have dealing with meritocracy and not party cronyism. BBI a party, BBI and Papa Joel Ati, the 96-year-old commentator. Asem back on Kanya, me person mumpenyi for more Ghana, what was say? And therefore, going to mean koso because BBI a politics. It told me be a moment professionalism near Juma, moment meritocracy near Juma. Ni can be a money diatem. Mum tum near Nemon Giorgio. Debt exchange, Miniana or Tenas or Kine. Debt exchange, many Odi Kaya, mi boo home conta, November, Muna Miam Contelling na.
Yeah.
Me, you know, almost Dr. Tran on ye or hard guinea, a bit of crowd framing home rame. But me, ye calculations in a wing. And the question I mean, we say, Sankaya, sa calculation now your friend is stress testing no earlier. Minia, Kadio November. Kenya nisi abetena so Bank of Ghana have made losses so and so. Look, yenu bi ohaya jatu e so. De meduru menyi 69. I me boy o man no ma boy nyame adwuma. Nti ye beka bibia mesramo di nyame din pama chaw. I beg you in the mercies of God. Eto baby amon kase ye ha mo adwene. Ye boa amana ye nanchirima. Inchirima ba o ma beto so man no na mo ba ye nanka o man ni ho a 1957 52 ne de eba ni ho a senka mo nti metena se nya politics nti mesramo politicians
Doc, medase pass what me a journey and a pay near din come away a bonfire saying a bit me a fan of pem na ya bomb my Ghana fan in Tampa fra where a higher now change my dear Adom TV so you try hotel nearby bar it was not to answer so near. All right, I call about you and Memfambra Nnawotwi Yi so Adom TV OTO radio so Asempa 94.7 FM. Well, Lawyer Alexander Trimberima, a member of the NDC's National Communications Team, Inokafwakwa, a government spokesperson, NCB also a friend to the bar and also be a lawyer. A friend lawyer Inokafwakwa, then you have a lawyer Trimberima. I'm going here which one? October. Anyway, and here wrap it up on BOG4 and Common. Lawyer Mamisha Simfo, maybe just 3 minutes for you to wrap up on that one. I mean, we need to build a resilient central bank. How do we do it?
See, a bit near first of all, they need to be law compliant.
Okay.
In that, a man that actually Muhammad Manasa Bumana Motini Munombrano. Momodia Mufamana Munimana. Where you can try and go on. And if you think you are Parliament first reading, second reading, debate questions, because they need you to comply with them.
That's a obi from Radeni.
And tell me about make a come back. So what I say, it is a what as an institution. Now we have the open, forgetting that there's a law that guides your actions and then inactions are.
Okay.
Then you are not helping the country.
Okay.
And for that reason, some sanctions must be applied.
Mate.
Okay, some sanctions must be applied because if the law tells you that don't give more than 2% of your income, now 20% the brand thinking that they be you have been reckless.
Okay,
and such life, no, say young chua so no jam and never knows them, but it was not time. So that's it. Oh, and every Munyaman can and every Munyaman can but baby no, and Kubasa recapitalizing about the same pussy a cast of money in Akubia and Jessica. Tell something million people in your Bianco 500 describe and Yankan in a boom. And from our still.
Okay.
So there need to be people, the leadership, the governor, because Bank of Ghana, one. I had maybe to say a Juma as a what you actually and say upon would not put a point on that wouldn't be open. Son of Ghana for and any bank of Ghana, Mano, okay. Wouldn't say one quantity you may back home, my muha. One budget, I insist in their aim, 8 million. Wouldn't they sit, prepare their own budget, approve their own budget, and go spend their own budget. Will be in their costume.
Okay.
But see, what Nasa bind the amount of year in Ireland. And Namasu Binti, yet be a side when I find the Bank of Ghana. One year scrutinizing now. Why can't we scrutinize you? Why are we allowing you to run a life of your own? In that you and I don't know what is happening in that institution.
Okay.
Name a cabadi and I bet I say, oh, and I know I create money walk out. Now the also knows who design.
Okay. All right.
We need to know all these things.
Okay.
We can't just allow them to have their own way, be doing their own things at the expense of the ordinary Ghanaian.
Okay.
I'm why.
Yo, Mate. Medase, lawyer. Enoch.
Yeah, could you Medase?
Me also for 2 minutes, go on for 3 minutes to 2 Could
you Medase? Okay, the Minia lawyer Chum, Eka Senior, Ekana, Bank of Ghana. I think they are doing fairly well. But for COVID, it is but for globalization interdependence, I'm a reason in Arabia Bakwa, Yenano, I watch by Kayanano. And could you rating agencies, no? I'm rating some of the bar, devalue Ghana, and near my eminent capital market, so, and Copesica, and implementing capital projects in the idea now. Hey, Fanny Beko. Bank of Ghana to me and share to say or minor embo abra government will get money to spend. Okay. And it's a Bank of Ghana a support to buying now buying the Boa Ghana for my Ghana for super. I think that is the best thing to do. But going forward, no, you compare who to Cote d'Ivoire and the Francophone countries, no. It is not the same. Okay. Cote d'Ivoire, Togo, and Francophone countries, no. Our treasury or France. You don't have a central treasury. Okay. And France and our treasury. What you say? But Ghana, your treasury, everyone can hear, and we manage our own thing, and we develop our own monetary policy near there. And how we compare and contrast with regards to those issues. Again, could you by that I call energy sector, meaning so a petroleum economist. Energy sector take up agreement in Kwano. Excess capacity in Kwana, over $1 billion. Over $1 billion. And $1 billion. Sometimes we should be patriotic. What you are saying is not patriotic. He said, "Bonnie, we are too hot. I buy you, also cleaning. Banking sector. Sika, I get to also over 20-something billion Ghana cedis. I buy the cleaning banking sector and I'm not resilient. We share the air cost on the idea. I buy you to papa and a COVID the boy. I buy you to papa and an energy crisis. Russia-Ukraine war in the buyer. That told diesel 1 gallon, 1 liter. I told say over 24 Ghana cedis per liter. And they told say, but for good policies, going for oil policy, no. You see, and I buy central bank. No more you see about my basso. Gold reserves. Or the need where I see build the gold reserves. Okay, UK Treasury, I am strong in Ghana. The quantum of gold, the UK Treasury no ever. Okay. And the Bank of Ghana, investing in gold. And almost gold. Yeah, the gold, oil no. Now Bank of Ghana also stocking in reserves no with gold. And currently Bank of Ghana, you say but if I saw what they are in terms of reserve no, over $1 billion. Over 1 billion. And no, you can't sell the positives, no, you can't sell. Okay, yo, Mate. These are all the good things. Also, can't buying any Bank of Ghana, but so the government is doing fairly well. Say, I buy me, and as I COVID, we buy, and this time, not COVID anyhow. And this time, not Russia, Ukraine, war, and buy, you know. Yeah, that do so how many years? Over 4 years. Over 4 years, do so.
Mate lawyer,
but with all this crisis, energy, economy, or my penny now by Guso, almost economy, no, said they be a Ghana, Libya, Hobetoy. And the first quarter of 2023, you grew by saying over 4.2%. 2023, first quarter, you grew by 4.2%. Over 4.2%. Even last year,
Akis me was a shibekwa say abanwe ayisu COVID-19 e de awia yesika yenya accountability on COVID funds no omayo and no Auditor General regards to
Auditor General mo money ahwe Auditor General na kwa hwe mbaka tese sika no kwa wo ma wiadi wo ma wiadi sika na dia na initially
Honorable Bright Asamoah Brefo and Chairman Anaya Berimake the Unifier okay, kiss me. I'll say, how much cash did Ghana make from COVID? President Akufo-Addo should declare to Ghanaians how much Ghana made from COVID test and other related charges at Kotoka International Airport. Another entry and exit points in Ghana during the COVID-19. Regards to Chairman Nanaya Berima. Okay, grateful. So also with me at Cherewadring. About the growth in the I'm checking Timam Winslow. The discussion about Attorney General. Any nin some of the other two Mammy Cecilia Dapa case and so. Menshas won't change. Who say I said 70 boy in Siano with the chat sheet, no, like Minimia ones who were in this particular matter. ROS with the other two.
I think so. Anyway, I mean, this is the advice I printed and just read through yesterday. But the Amihun is the Attorney General has confirmed that Ghana Police Service or some officers of the Ghana Police Service are not being, how should I even put it? Because I cannot imagine that this matter has been in court since last year.
Last year?
2022.
It has been in court since last year.
July 2022.
And now, Auditor General, I'm sorry, I can't say. Attorney General, sorry,
Attorney General.
Attorney General's advice. And the punches or the holes that have been, I mean, age, you know, are penetrating in your own website. What's the way? As I want to say, do you need an Attorney General who is not a police officer to come and tell you how to do investigations? And meanwhile, this investigation was done by SIU, Special Investigation Unit of the Ghana Police Service, at the CID headquarters. Can you imagine? Now, this is what this is. Document I'm saying, a very good friend of mine, Alfred, a sign name. Now, in a way, Wakili Cecilia in one way at one point, and Wakili Ghana Police Service in one point.
Okay.
One. You see, on the 6th of October, Anna Papa friend Daniel Osei Kufuor.
Yeah.
I know so we free ni fie say wo tu kwan akọ eye atimoda. Na wan yanko o cancel the trip no. Enti wasansa na chiba fie putuprum a obi en na so.
No.
Kodwo na wose wo bedru ni fie no. Ano tin noise bi won the bedroom area. Owura bedroom no wan hunu ni bia wo bedroom ho. There's a storeroom in the bedroom.
Yeah.
Na dem is a storeroom couple bedroom.
Oh, then say no there. Now, unim say you were even closet cry.
Closet in the storeroom.
No. I mean, everybody and I do the best in the bedroom.
Are you? You know on the storeroom the shame.
Exactly.
Are you yati?
It's a closet, but that's how they describe it.
That's fine. Yo, what the emphasis are? Inti was say over the storeroom of in the bedroom. I know who say obi elata ho. When a letter where the accused person one, which is a year patient's butchery.
Yeah.
And a show. Enti or friend police near hold to umfi. A friend driver. And on batching no police station. I won't quack in your what kind of document you can anymore?
Yeah.
At some point, a can say the accused person are you going the patients ya can say me. Or na o cleaning my bedroom. And I said, Papa in the bedroom.
Yeah.
So technically you can say so all right to enter the bedroom anytime.
Yeah, exactly.
It is a to clean our bedroom, police station. Very simple question. So what to 93 days or something. If you feel I came back at some point. Me do not make now video cleaning the company not home fee. I saw her there. But our right to enter, I mean, no access to the not to the main building anymore, but the compound. Into me to the compound, so I'm going to be my question because I know what she comes to do almost as in twice or so in a week or thrice in a week or something. Obabe. e je no so kokote no ho a no afro police me chene
ko say we also koto no she sa storeroom no enye bedroom
she cleans the entire place for you.
Yeah, but not the storeroom.
No clean no that be one kasa tieni one you see one kasa tienti me nkasa on clean
so kita master key as a okwa key no enye sa no me tudwa
nya botre de me kan me hu master key no we na no ever de ma kan
no
nya botre so another key and master key, they are two different things. Another key can be a spare key. I won't have no. So the question is, it one time because a document you know what I suppose on Bebreu.
Okay.
Bebreu pa who breaking down I suppose on pa. What's the continue with them when into police was the police woman. Okay, yati. Watching on hot grounds. So I did. Somebody must commit an act. In law, no? The back said 3 things or basically 2 things happens in it. The act itself and the intention. What was the act? Actors were any idea here?
So when to me offer any explanation
no, but
for the
what
president.
has she done then? Then I know why you enter out to the police station. You have not attributed anything to her at that moment. There is no offense, there is no charge. One cast of a pen, one cast of a phone, one cast of a beer was wasn't nothing in Grano, much in one according to this same document. Was there a mental question one? Never one could be. So technically, 1 5 years, that's what we are here to add the police channel. That is point number 1. Now, was say or the uncle police station report into you no friend, and everyone man said, Obedru Fino, yes, in that chain or call share. He later realized that, okay, 5 different men's suits valued $500 each and 5 pieces of Kente cloth valued 15,000, which is like 3,000 per one, had been stolen.
No. I'll say 15,000 cedis each.
Valued at, okay, each. So we are 15,000. That's wow. Anna Yafa. So he called his wife, who had traveled to Kumasi, to inform her of the incident. Now, they on the 10th. Cecilia Daba returned to Accra on the 10th of October to find that their bedroom had been ransacked. But your husband didn't talk about ransacking. 4 days later, who couldn't die? From the 6th October to 10th October, Nico dying. The same bedroom, which is more or less a crime scene. I want to die, Anna. I don't want that for 4 days. Now 4 days next now, I will be down and then not be ransacked. Really? So I didn't tell you to answer police board. Because on the first complaint, Madam Debbie, on the police will be an afterthought. Who by it said the other tea yet, and they be a woman nearby was to call him Bibi. Now, once I can see there was be a. But the point is, I want to be denied, and then it's in Bakuna, I am much in 95. Okay? Then the trust her. Because I don't want to work out if you're. Number 2, your husband resided in that, if possible, I stand to be corrected there, but he resided more or less in that room from 6 to 10 for now, you know. And then 10 for now, we were complaining about ransacking, which it took you days to put your things together. How is that? I mean, I want to but me, my police venue. So, when we are okay, me from the law, I did the police mind, this thing doesn't make sense.
Okay.
It doesn't make sense. I can't focus on my pain. At that moment, not very good do them one. You said, I must scatter them. I have the pictures.
Okay.
That day. It's now what I said, which traffic is in every way when the evidence is out there to with the police and so on and so forth, and then you take it to another step. So what I say? But where there are someone see on the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10 now fruit massive buy. Now one now about on the 10th now they who say with them who have been ransacked and that you took days to put your room together. When you said on 7 Yamut. I don't know. One episode that I know. Now quite new I find the quite or near me say Kwabna or say Henry was Kwabna. Or no say never a penny be a free moon. Na never than a free moon uncle be in the office to go say $800,000. Every other can be seen better than them. That was an officer say. And I know. Radin program. When we are in here, When I sister does do show Musa. What Papa Penny Moods are who it's $800,000 who only a bema when I walk out of my own about on the Wait. Would you only see a police battle?
So no police or police protection.
She see on
was that arm robbers police area bank is a who said to you, sir, the fact that police were over and just I mean your house can be attacked? It's not done anywhere.
As a lawyer,
okay.
Osha document we now PC Nnawotwi Yi. Then ekoso.
Oh, I'm not make it because I'm running those. Yeah, I've seen one where we know accused no lawyer no there. So with me and my year this matter, I doubt where to go. I'm telling you.
The accused lawyer.
So with me and my year this matter. Almost a charge on the woman now. All of went to be anybody.
Dabi.
All of went to him because say of Francis was it down and bury. Me need right to enter. The first offense is unlawful entry.
Okay.
And then you go to the next component which says we are holding me idea. If I be, I said I would steal number. There's no unlawful entry. Do not say that I would the right to enter. Do not when we them at the right time. And I said on the right ground. So I didn't say they just need a good lawyer to defend them.
Hey, until Opesoka say conspiracy to commit crime towards stealing. Contrary to sections, blah blah blah.
Conspiracy to commit crime because menena asha ho say baby. That is a conspiracy.
Enyo.
Anna the kodin one ye.
First accused, no.
To a year and then be that say to enter a premises to steal. I'm not about fear. Ebe we are having entered there wrongly. It's a first offense of unlawful entry.
Until police no got it wrong.
I mean, I'm at least with the police for almost 12 years. So these things, I don't need to be educated on it. Read the law. So if I couldn't write wrongly, the first charge is unlawful entry. Because you must enter that place with permission. Say my permission I do out there, the unlawful entry is MBN. But what you do is say me fear the example way. Me cut to clean and no compound one. Me to me that's why enter premises unlawful because my man permission to me we are. Abe na djuma obabaye no. So some continue me compound wa. When you unlawful entry say bia ho. Ni mo say me continue me bedroom or unlawful entry because me man access to that place.
But we hear no to one say stealing dey make me approve.
Stealing would then come with certain components. The act itself. So wafa bibi. So you must get adequate was wafa. What when adequate was wafa? What's wafa then?
First car.
What was wafa? Who evidence no?
For sure, Attorney General advice and never pass you or discuss it.
The Attorney General is even telling them to go and do further and better investigations and report back to them. Because they have done a very shoddy job. They have done a very shoddy job. Okay. So they should go and do proper job and report back to the Attorney General. That's what they have said to them. So I say we advise that you comply. Your investigation into this matter is required to enable the Attorney General to take a comprehensive decision on the case. It won't say uncle Machibim enquiry money ye detect. No more report back to the Attorney General. Now we have money I can make a satchel. Mr. Brennan, what I can make ocean knows my one. And then I can go through more admana or my Bibiano. This matter is just an ordinary matter. But it boils down to the point to the end, maybe see from the American. Can have no unity promo. Your legal tender which is accepted and used legally in buying, in paying for anything done is cedis.
Ghana cedis, yes.
And the AG say they should investigate this on possible money laundering. Possible money laundering.
Yeah.
Because when you have £1,000 and $1 and every. But if you come to say somebody.
Yeah.
Why not say yen? So we are going to
and when you see
and well-to-do people, the first-class citizens. Only a year bank if one better nobody is gone.
Yeah.
Montaki is the power and my bank for better nobody is gone. So bank for this guy automatically every month that you take on that Saturday and that Sunday, no, straight to the bank, bam.
Sure.
And my one time, it wouldn't also say what you're would and someone checking. So bank of one Beijing money, you're not saying somebody. Why is that man now over this? I will not say and somebody if river. Something is wrong somewhere. So you see, and Kotopondos, they have messed up, and Nibia is a mess. Who even let them poke out Chinocratic court to what the man penny said, not so they official letter, you're using my dear president. My dear Mr. President.
Okay, but that's a
can you imagine?
Isaac Kofi Kumsin says the NDC man in your studio is making. Oh, really? Okay. Or he has a prejudiced mind, or you say prejudiced mind, and he is showing it without shame. He's speaking as though he stays with Dapa and the husband. No, I would have to disagree because I think on where you see what the AG is saying, and in fact, he's even gotten me to really flow with him because the questions he's asking, Sampa, Nipanura, or no say, where's the unlawful entry charge? And we know again, or according to the so really, I mean, Isaac, I agree that you've sent in your test, but maybe you might want to, have a real look at it. Well, Afakwa, age is don't you need to get something that unhuza media? Well, I thought I was also like your friend to the bar and Tibia. Oh, I know. What do you also make of? What
say, age advice now. It shows that it shows the weaknesses in the investigation of police area. But it's here for you to say we don't have offhand the statement complaint answered the police.
Yes.
And what
and
the statement? Okay, brief facts are miniature have in the mind on ordinary course now. And the brief fact by from the investigator, police for Edikobo Kwedu. It which means it's a summarized form. It all these ingredients are obisano and yada obinyan or the brief facts in them. So anything AG redirected say they should reinvestigate. Okay, AG the Nina saw someone here reinvestigation now. The police will reinvestigate the matter now. One. Or say the culpability of the accused persons, whether or not say accused persons, patients, botry, and then the 5 others, 4 others, or me culpable, say almost disab bonena, and to somebody now. Because in terms of establishing a crime, you were what you call the menstrual, the intention. Adrian Ankasa the boat, Trimposo Koyano, and the actuaria. But no action, Ankasa the act comes no the intention.
No, the intention comes first. The actors realize itself.
Is it conspiracy? Conspiracy, a crime of intention.
So the conspiracy part, yes.
Intention. The intent comes first before the action. So both must coincide in time before we have conviction. I say again now about Trimupono and Bonina would is here in time. About Trimuposo Korea, then you can be convicted of a crime. But what you say? This is the facts thing in show. And AG interested in the source of the funds. Who the true owner? The Pakrasi can kasa in the ano matter. Yeah. And our face so no Sikana Kasano, baby a free any sign money because we have Anti-Money Laundering Act and any money. Then say, you never tell us say, you know, to say ampa say who says Sikatri dear will say, Yera Ibrahim Hama, ne demo. Yes, you saw a business or a business mogul. Okay. And you say you even $20 million. And you $20 million. Yera Ibrahim Hama dema. And your news because we're a business person. You can say $50 million. You're just from Dr. Sio Japan. Need them and your news because Dr. Sio Japan. You saw the chairman of the Just One Group, which is Zoom Lion companies like a senator. Padi or more than Nema. You can say KIB or Yera Magdan Macaulay, Dr. Macaulay, Edema, and your news. But the Yamo news near say Mrs. Abdapa or a public servant or a public officer and a former public officer. Since you are resigning. I don't see. You say, oh, Ebeka so, Ebia, Abaisika, a way. My minute in the media towards any investigation. You see, it is only in Ghana. And an accused, a victim, a victim. We are victimizing an accused person. Yeah, because or a mere public officer. Meaning, Henry or Sekwabna. You want to do a document in Mono. Henry or Sekwabna, one of the renowned poultry farmers in Ashanti region, Ukukumasia. Or a renowned poultry farmer. I know him personally. He's a personal friend. It's a Henry was a Kwabna. Ninia penny, Yamabisi Abadapa. And we know they can custom and practice. Say, you are penny or no more. You say a trio or no more. You have be a share to get. And say, only a penny or and fortunately, only a penny is an influential person. renowned, distinguished. Yeah, maybe it's about the public service. What's in Hoboni be say in terms of financial malpractice and I see any other thing. No. Me, I am there. Say investigations no echo in this manner. Now, you better establish some pass Bonnie way echo so. You better establish the source of the funds. Because a Ghana ha emrebia ni Ghana has say yen can be say emrebia ni Ghana has say will be say e so this can go to bank.
Yeah.
There's no law. So for this can go to bank.
Okay.
Emrebia ni Ghana has say will be say untimi enya foreign currency or Ghana ha. There's no law. But emra say untimi spend foreign currency and charge in dollars and euro ni pound sterling. E why the emra ha. E say bibia you transact in the city and the Ghana Bank of Ghana no e clear.
And then I say I buy cry buso no.
But Emra no say Emra say so otimi keep his sika no Emra say so this sika no call banker na so bia ko wia ni sika no the call police station na and because of a public office and here teaching sound so the evidence say wo hwe the investigation na police are na though there are weaknesses in the investigations no investigation we are now there has been admissions wo hwe the evidence act na 323 NRC 323 of 1975 na one Section 119 of the Evidence Act, the admission and confession was a confession. Section 120. 119 no, a admission was a. So one can swap a bonnet. Now you two some bonnet in my yard. Investigation baby, burden of proof no. It says from the prosecutor. Why you can't simple. Why is I see the burden and the burden to prove the case no. It has been established. Beyond reasonable doubt has been established. Because what admit it under section 119 and we go through even investigation through investigators here who say there has been admission patients boche FS cano how spend this cano any name admission or because see dying second accused person and because see dying 3-bedroom house e wo budumbura wo se kaso ho baby we did they say e koto elantra wo there have been several admissions e wo so what you say and AG advice for the police near say some of the charges or charge here no it be some separate charge no it be some dropping those charges because it be there are no evidence to support those charges and you see investigations bebre no any number police defense counsels enya their day in court because police for your investigation to can loopholes ni wo ma emran support here we be call no akọ lusu states na lusu a case no occurred because say one, you cannot charge somebody without a reasonable evidence. They don't sustain the conviction of the person. So what can I say? But the mere fact that one make admission, say yes, I took the money. But this kind of my investing in media property, me the big currency apartment or Tamale, 4-bedroom apartment. And I'm is it 4,400 Ghana cedis monthly, and a whole lot of things. Or investing in Hyundai Lantra, if you thought that or Yarifa Amrahia, any idea? They have made admissions to the commission of the crime. I don't see in terms of establishing of that case, Nadia, we've gone past that stage. Say Okoto, say offer any idea. You see, in bedroom, even when you are cleaning your boss's bedroom, you must have permission to enter the bedroom before you go and clean the bedroom. And police aren't charged on unlawful entry. And one the weakness is their direction. You see, it politics because Cecilia Badapa, former minister of water resources and sanitation, or a member of the NPP government, Attorney General, take over the prosecution. No. Under Article 88 of our Constitution, all prosecutorial powers in the state, Attorney General. It is only Attorney General and the can prosecute in terms of criminal
anybody who does it on
delegated powers to the police and the other agencies. Snake money, GRE on his behalf. But Attorney General say, "Sir, prosecution here because of the nature, the magnitude, public interest. I want to take it upon myself and conduct my own tenor." Attorney General Enya Bonibia. Okay. And the Attorney General so AJ docket, we'll go through. Who is it? Brace. Adeba say about this lesser crime, theft, stealing, nema fraud. Na police mostly Attorney General no relegated the second degree offenses near there. My phone lines na to us we dey say wa. Ko say na say.
0302 211701 0302 211701 1 between 2 between 3 between 40 0302211702 0302211703 up to 4 nafi friend yente wadwenkyere but how worried are you so Attorney General for example Attorney General can say even there is nothing in the docket on the complainant on the complaint made by Daniel Sekufo or any member of the household at the Tesano police station or Moshushe Mono.
Maybe what my mention.
Yeah, Omode,
me try to some police station, some about Massima. The first thing police does is that may do count how I check up one. You trauma in the what you call the station diary. Now you prepare and no. I won't shit the investigator. So your station officer was assigned ABI Afwakwa. So we'll investigate this matter.
Okay.
So I was able to tracing the matter first from the station diary and then the extra sheet. So it is if who submitted back to the AG. Not say we need any of these things that you can point to say. Extra I'm copy from the station diary. Just on about time say wait. You raise so many questions into the matter.
Yo, Mate. Interesting.
So, what is interesting? And it's a police investigation. And there are a lot of loopholes in it.
Okay.
I was saying to me, now going forward, now I was say the IGP and then the director of CID. Actually, the investigation police because which cases be a whole my ADHD. Yeah, several appeals being there. Who say loopholes? A woman. Everyone puts any pan. Why? Coming to offense, but because of the loopholes, they will dwell on those technicalities and free these people.
On this year, about one. So this year, but it's only encore.
Wana no manyakubo shop am shop abejo fokore chama tina nunkumu ba when you question you bua chance can can keep to me nunga ako munyitem sika pin what's a call pin them off me no na so go bankia nka dona no entry se plate ya first caro e wa odia. Now what's happening? I don't put me on my when follow a better now on my nothing. I better never have Costro.
I see so I will was I see Pacho Mamito Argenche.
The child of your phone. Yama Sicily, the pa Asma Yakin. And more area hope it break. Mosha, your friends, Abenetiene a crown and what stress a Ghana. Na government force say, don't let me go through 15. No force one at the platform. Near Kata Ukra, Kaway, $1. Not a war, your friends are oopsie. We are sanitation minister. Not a year. Never say you no more because a year can, you have a panel, a year, your friends are finance minister.
Okay, yo. Anyway, Medasi, Mamo show lawyer for incoming lawyer for yes, lawyer Chu and Avaka. When we say me buy it, won't so I'll share the near OT. That's a pass at the Biama Pine, maybe come home, Memena Pabia, Yen sign shot now what you're there, enemy, Memena Abbey, the into me, Indi Ghana home and come on. On behalf of the team, Medasi.